The second thing that we did was we built up our credibility. Now, when we came into real estate, period, again, we were 24 years old. And I really did look 15, 16. I always say as a joke 13, but I mean, literally, people asked to talk to my mom when they come to my door. So I really did look really young, and I felt that. And I felt very uncomfortable doing all of this. Um, but we had to basically take our credibility and really amplify it because we didn't have much under our belts. We had to project even more. So at the time, which is crazy because I'm not like this now, I was a fantastic multitasker. I could have a million things going on and I was on top of it all. So that's one thing that I, often would talk to investors about and really portray like I can be on top of, buying the place, getting the insurance on it, having tenants in, having renovations going at the same time, having the advertising out on time. I can be on top of all these things, keeping this project moving forward. So that was one thing that I really capitalized on and really tried to toot my own horn about, which again, it's hard to do. It's not the easiest thing to do, but you learn to do it because that's what builds your credibility. And that's what people need. They need to know, what is it you can do for me that I'm not good at? Maybe they don't have the ability. I know I don't now. But maybe they also don't want to be on top of that. Maybe they've got enough going on in their own lives and they don't want to do all those things. So by filling a need that they had, by tooting my own horn a little bit, I could certainly kind of get on the same page with them and kind of find common ground in that a lot easier. Um, so building credibility, what we also had to do was, we had come into this with one property under our belt. So we had the house that we were living in. We bought when we were 19, so we had a little bit of equity in that, but not too much. And then we had joint ventured with my dad, which we didn't even realize it was called a joint venture. But we were out rollerblading one day, found it for sale by owner, knocked on the door, talked to her, walked through the whole process. We bought it. We did a little bit of renovating, not much, with the intention that my parents needed a place just for a few months before they were moving down to the States. And so they moved into that. When they left, we got it rented, um, you know, dealt with the condo board, all that kind of stuff, turned it into a rental property. So that was the whole intention with that. And that was our first like joint venture, even though we didn't know it was called that at the time. So basically we came in having two properties. And we basically had to go to other people now and say, okay, we have two properties, one of which we live in, so it's not even a rental, and we want to buy 10 this year. So that was a little bit intimidating to say, and so we had to build up our credibility. So for what we did was we looked for any way that we could just get that next property. Now we were part of an investment group that at the time they gave an award if you got your first three properties. So we did anything we could do to get that third property so that we could say that we had three. Now, when we went to their events, you wore a name tag and you had a little pin on there that said you had three properties. So now walking around in that room, you have just this little bit more credibility than others do, because if they're newer than you, they see that, you've got more than they do. You have a little more experience than they do. So that was the first one. The second award level was 7 properties. Now that seemed like an impossible task. We did not think that we could actually follow through and get those 10 properties within that first year. And actually, I don't think we did. We did meet that. I think we ended up missing that, but we did get the next pin, the next level up, which was 7 properties, and we did anything we could do. So we found properties that, funny enough, we still own all 3 of them to this day. But they were properties that we thought, you know what, we're going to do our best with them, but they're not long-term properties for us. We're just going to use them for credibility because we can get in on these easily. It was low money down. We had a relationship with a realtor that would, feed us properties, but we didn't even have the money for them when we committed to them. So what we did, we had $1,500 down on each property. So we put it in, and we had condition date of 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, we had to find investors for 3 properties. Now, quite frankly, I don't know. I kind of think I thought we could do a couple of them. I don't know if I thought we could do all 3, but we were going to try. So we did. And, amazingly enough, when you have a fire lit under you, it was amazing how we did find um, those partners. And you know what? We made it really attractive. We did all the work ourselves. I mean, pared down the numbers to ridiculous amounts. We didn't do reserve funds. We said we'll cover any reserves that come up. Not smart. But that's how we found all of our partners so very quickly. So we went from having 2 properties, we immediately jumped up to 5 properties. Not only that, the experience that we got. So we lipstick and rouge. So we didn't do any plastic surgery, didn't change walls, move anything like that. We just did, a little bit of makeup. So paint, floors, we did it all ourselves. Um, and yeah, we got those places rented. So now I knew how to run ads better. I knew how to, talk to tenants and do showings better. And so within that 3-month period, really got a lot of good hands-on experience. Now I could speak to a joint venture partner with more confidence, more experience, tell them about the market a little bit. When I did look at a property, I could tell them why I didn't like that one or did like it based on experience, not just knowledge. So, I mean, priceless, priceless for us to have built that credibility. We knew that we couldn't go to somebody and say, hey, we have no properties, but we want you to continue with us on this journey. So we went to them. I mean, we did kind of go to them saying that, our initial ones, but I think our drive and our determination really came through. But we wanted to be able to go in a bigger way to investors that we didn't know. So one of those was with, let me see, one of those was with a family member, and then 2 were not. 2 were with someone we met at a real estate event in Toronto, actually, and we're from Edmonton. So anyways, at the end of the day, we jumped our credibility. All of a sudden, we had 5 properties. Now, we still didn't have our PIN, but that's okay because we were going to all kinds of different seminars and conferences, so it didn't always matter. But at least I took around a book. I called it my show-off binder. It had pictures of, the properties that we had. Actually, I think I have it right here. I do. So this was the property that we were looking to joint venture at the time. And don't even know what's in here anymore, so I should be a little careful. But we have our property statements of how much cash flow we were making off of everything every month. So the address, the rent, condo fees, insurance, the mortgage, the taxes, and the cash flow. Totaling it up showed exactly what we were cash flowing. Now you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties on here. These are scratched out. I don't know why, but they're at the time we only had 6, and I walked around with this binder showing people the properties. Oh, we probably split it out by what company owned it at the time, but our renewals, who holds our banks, the legal tax account numbers, some advertising that we had out, just to kind of show the types of property, that we had, how we made them really nice, made them really cute. Not the, nicest, fanciest house, but oh my goodness, was it cute inside. And, we set up we put 2 lawn chairs by your fire pit. And all of a sudden you have like a beautiful backyard. So just kind of showing our skills and being able to do that. And, how we advertise this went up in drugstores and that sort of thing. Never mind, online ads were fairly new, but we did, whatever we could. And an investor could see that. We had our goal. We showed them this is our goal for the year, but this is where we're at. So you can see we really want to continue and really need help. We need partners to be able to do that sort of thing. A little bio about us, our net worth statement, which at the time was not very much. But you know what? It showed them that we were tracking these things. We were responsible. We were driven about it, and we were looking to increase this. Our credit report. Now that's something that a lot of people are like, why on earth would you put your credit report in? For us, it wasn't perfect credit. And so it was a big decision whether or not to do that, but we really wanted full transparency with joint venture partners. We wanted them to absolutely have no doubts about us. So we showed them. How's this go now? You know, agreed as paid, okay, 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 agreed, paid as agreed, I should say. But this, as you can see, okay, 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 and all of a sudden 30, 60, 90, 90, 90, 90, 120, and guess what? It went into collections. This was, I think, a $13,000 loan. Now, it's a totally relevant story as to what happened. So, two banks had merged, and when they merged, they stopped taking the payment out of our account. We didn't even notice. Bad bookkeeping. Obviously, we don't do that anymore, but we didn't notice, and so it went bad, and they didn't. You know, now I probably would fight that a little more, but I was like, oh, you know, they said, sorry, your fault, not ours. You should have been watching, and we just went with that. So, anyways, if there is something, we said, look, explanation at beginning, and we wrote them a letter. We said, listen, this is what you're going to see on our credit report. Please note that everything else is okay, 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 until this one situation. So, transparency, and we shined a light on it. Look, everything else is good, 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 good. But that one situation was not, and we want you to know about that up front so that if you choose not to invest with us, that's okay. But giving our credit report, it was huge. People were all over that. And then, of course, we always had a property that we were willing to share. This is now an example binder that we use for some presentations sometimes. But yeah, then we always had, you know, this is the property that we're looking to show you right now. And, you know, we're looking for an investor on. And, you know, sometimes I would have a presentation and I didn't have a property available at the time. And so I would just go in and say, this is the type of properties that we do buy. This is why. This is the area. This is why I like them. This is how the numbers should work out. And show them an existing property, something I was trying to replicate. And I'd show them exactly how the numbers work out. Is this the type of numbers that you're looking for? Does that work for you? And if it was, then I could go shopping for something exactly what they were looking for or what we liked. They could say, oh, I don't really like this or that or whatever it might be. But then I knew. So if you don't have the property and you have a appointment coming up, don't worry about it. Not a problem. Just go ahead and do your appointment and show them an example of the types of properties that you're buying or the type of property that you're looking for right now. And just use those numbers. That'll be good enough. So yeah, building your credibility, however that needs to be. A little show-off binder, you know, getting awards or pins, being willing to do more work. We also, at the very beginning, agreed to, so typical joint venture agreement is 50-50. You're going to bring the time, the work, they're going to bring the money, split any profits 50-50 after they get their initial money back that they had put in. So that for me, you know, was standard. But when people said to us, well, you know, I'd like to buy more than a couple, do you think we could work on an agreement? And do you think we could go for less? Like, would you take less than 50%? So, you know, a lot of people say to us today, like, well, if standard's 50%, then that's what I'm going to go for. Each to their own. What we did, though, was we said, sure. So with the one gentleman, we bought a number of properties. We ended up buying, I don't even know, 13 or 15 properties with him. But at first, he asked us if we would take 34% instead of 50. And we did, because that, again, he bought a number of properties right in succession. We found a property, asked him, yes. Found a property, asked him, yes. You know, it made things like clockwork for us. And again, our credibility jumped. We soon had our next pin. We soon had rows and rows in our binder to show people, property pictures like crazy. You know, a lot of other people got to know us, that we were busy in real estate. Our reputation with realtors went up. We were able to do all kinds of extra things because we built that credibility. We did anything that we could do to build it, even compromise on things that we didn't want to, including money. I have now, actually we just sold the last one last summer, but I had managed some of those properties for 14 years. For free. We didn't put a property management fee in there at the beginning either, because again, we were trying to make it as enticing as possible. So I've managed those properties myself, in-house, for 14 years, some of them. And that's okay. I didn't get paid very well on those properties, truthfully. But you know what? The credibility it got me, the experience, the education, the hands-on stuff that I never would have had before, absolutely worth every single penny that I gave up, because of course I made it in other ways later on, right? So, what can you do? You can absolutely build your credibility. If that means with family, if that means with your own money, if that means, you know, making better deals for joint venture partners than you would hope to later on, doesn't matter. Do what you have to do to build your credibility.